evening of Friday, March 4th, Lance Howard and I left on a trip to Iran. The first leg was the overnight flight on Lufthansa to Frankfurt. We arrived at about 6 a.m. and went to the Steigenberger Airport Hotel where we had day rooms reserved. They were small but comfortable. I had a club sandwich in the bar, and then I got a few hours of sleep. At 6:50 p.m., we continued on our way, taking the evening flight towards Iran. The business class section on flights in Europe, like this one on Lufthansa, is not quite as nice as the ones on the overseas flights. It's not as luxurious. Iran, also called Persia and officially the Islamic Republic of Iran, is a country of Western Asia. With 82 million inhabitants, it's the world's 18th most populous country. Tehran, the capital, has a population of about 8.5 million people and is located at the foot of the Elburz mountain range at an altitude of 1,189 meters above sea level. We arrived in Tehran at about 1:30 in the morning, and someone from Daryopol was there to meet us and take us to the hotel. After about a 25-minute drive, we got into our rooms at the Estiglal Hotel around 3 a.m. We stayed in the West Wing at $110 US per night plus 15% service charge. We needed a lot of cash because they don't accept credit cards. The rooms were modern, spacious, and quite comfortable. The hotel overlooks the city and you can see the mountains in the background. A very nice view. Sunday is not a day of rest in Iran, so when we got up, we went off to meet with Dr. Shakarzi and Daryopol, a local engineering firm that was assisting us in preparing the bid for Seymareh. At lunchtime, we went to the Shandiz restaurant, which may have been this one here. I was really impressed by the shish kebabs, or lamb kebabs, that were done on swords. I eventually did manage to have one of these for supper one night. After lunch, we had a meeting with the consortium partners. Just up the street and to the left, you can't see it, but there's a mosque, and we could hear the muezzin summoning Muslims to prayer several times a day. Here are some of the members of the consortium team, including Mr. Garadaghi, the president of Elmatco. We worked up the scope of work for each partner. On Tuesday, with our consortium partners, we went for a meeting with the client. After the meeting with Mr. Garadaghi, we drove around and then walked around looking for the farthest restaurant. We had trouble finding it, but I found a handicraft shop and bought this jewelry box for Natalie. We finally found the farthest restaurant and had a very good supper. On the Wednesday, I flew to Khorramabad with our bid partners to visit the Seymareh site. Attar was at the airport with tickets for me, Kaziminejad of Pega, and Godarzi of Elmatco. I'm not sure if the price was 1.5 million rials, or about $180, or 150,000 rials, for about $18. Attar said that it was the lower price, which would be very inexpensive. We left Tehran at 11:10 and arrived in Khorramabad at noon. Khorramabad is a city of about 300,000 people, located in a valley at an altitude of 1,147 meters above sea level, and surrounded by mountains of the Zagros range. It was a warm, dry day as we headed off towards the Seymareh site, 192 kilometers away. The highway started as a 4-lane divided highway, but after about 10 kilometers became 2 lanes, undivided. The road was good, but there were a lot of big trucks. Stopped for lunch at Darashar. I had chicken kebab with raisin and vermicelli and a Zamzam orange drink. We arrived at the client's office complex at around 3:45 p.m. This will be for administration and tourists after completion of the construction of the hydro plant. They had a couple of 3D models of the 500 megawatt hydro scheme. Then we went for a tour of the site where excavation of the overburden had already started. They're excavating the surge tank from below and above, with about 20 meters to go before breaking through. They had also started some excavation of the powerhouse. We left the site just before 6 p.m., heading back towards Karamabad. After almost 3 hours of fast and crazy driving, we arrived at the hotel at 9 p.m. The hotel overlooks the valley with a view of the Falakolaflak citadel, built about 1800 years ago. On the Thursday morning, we left the hotel at 8:20 to drive to Tehran, 495 kilometers away. We stopped for breakfast just outside of town, getting underway again at 9 a.m. Iraq has a population of about 500,000 and is nicknamed the industrial capital of Iran, producing steel, aluminum, petrochemical products, vehicles, and heavy machinery. Qom is a lively industrial center of about 1.2 million people. Some 10 kings and 400 Islamic saints are interred in Qom and the surrounding area. We had lunch at the Madain restaurant. We drove past the Hosi Sultan Salt Lake. There's not much water left, mostly just salt. Most of Iran is mountainous and arid, with much of it consisting of a central desert plateau, which is ringed on all sides by lofty mountain ranges that afford access to the interior through high passes. We got into Tehran about 4:15 p.m. Apparently there was a bridge out and we had to make a big detour. We arrived at the hotel at 5 p.m. Friday being a day of rest, I went for a long walk. It was a beautiful sunny day, cool but not cold. I turned right down Valiasar Street, past the Belal Mosque, and turned into Melat Park. Workers were planting flowers, leaves were out on the trees and some were flowering. The park attracts a lot of people, women and children, old men chatting on the benches, soccer players, and people playing other sports. I walked through the park and went up some stairs with sculpted busts of poets and writers from 1,000 years ago. At the top of the stairs is a small man-made lake. Around the side of the lake is a small zoo with ducks, geese, swans, and pelicans in the water, goats and reindeer, and various types of birds. On the way back to the hotel, I went into a shopping center and into a shop that led downstairs where there were handicrafts and jewelry. I bought this turquoise necklace and bracelet for Natalie. On the last day, Saturday, we had a wrap-up meeting at the Almatco office and then another at Dariapala. The office and facilities were quite impressive, fairly high-tech, 3D models of plants, PDMS, AutoCAD, and much more. I was quite impressed by the friendliness extended to me by the engineers and technicians of Dariapala and by their expertise and professionalism, and finally by the great hospitality of Dr. Shikarzi. I checked out of the hotel in the evening as the flight to Frankfurt was at 3 a.m. Sunday morning. I slept most of the 5-hour and 25-minute flight. I didn't even remember taking off. The flight from Frankfurt to Montreal took off at 10:23 in the morning, and I arrived home in Montreal just after noon on Sunday, March 14th.